Greetings, Brawniacs, and welcome to The Devil's Den, a podcast that focuses specifically on Leo Brawn, former homicide detective, killed in the line of duty and turned demon hunter. I'm your host, Stitch Mainville, and with me is your co-host, the creator, writer, and producer of Leo Brawn, Mr. Jason Beard. Now, Jason and I will be breaking down each episode of Leo Brawn as we're joined by a cast member who will give us their perspective as well. But first, spoiler alert, we will be discussing the entire episode of The Bird. So if you haven't yet listened, stop here, go back and listen to episode 2, The Bird, and then come on back so we can continue. Okay, so now that you're all caught up, you may have some questions like, what's the deal with this dapper man? Did Leo really punch an 8-year-old boy? And our most important question for all of this episode is, who's this Willie guy and what's his deal? All this and more on this episode of The Devil's Den. Hello, our conversation is just beginning, and right now we say hello to our co-host, creator of Leo Brawn, Jason Beard. Jason.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. All right, where do we leave off in the last episode? So it was the pilot episode of The Devil's Den discussing the pilot episode of Leo Brawn, where what's episode 1 of Leo Brawn is, like we established, is he is a former homicide detective, dies in the line of duty, wakes up in hell, becomes a demon hunter from hell, and he's on his 4th hunt when we catch up to him in the first episode, and he is on his way to the Weston residence to exorcise the demon from Philip Weston. And that's where I believe we are right now. We're about to arrive at his house.
So that brings us to episode 2. And I'm excited about doing this episode because that brings in our special guest today, Terry Briscoe, a.k.a. Willie Topaz himself. Terry, welcome to The Devil's Den.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem. We thank you. Even though this is still mostly Leo Brawn going after the demon and hanging out, I like the fact that Willie comes in and sort of rushes right in, and it gives you this sense that everything is going as it was supposed to go. Like you're stepping into a middle of a story. Was that the intent there, Jason?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the intent of season 2 was where episode 1 is kind of laying the foundation, kind of not really explaining the rules, but you're at least hearing what some of the rules are. And then in episode 2, it's like, okay, now we're going to really ramp it up. So not only will Leo, as we'll get to, will confront Philip Weston and the demonic possession in the house, but he's running out of time, where that transmigration or reincarnation rule is about to come into effect, which is one of the big reasons Willie is sent to save the day.
Now, is this because Leo's being such a slowpoke and getting everything done?
That is one of the reasons. He's still sort of a newbie, even though we don't really know that yet, but he's not a veteran the way that Willie.
Right. Well, before we get started actually reviewing this episode, we have a few questions for you, Terry. My question was, where do you draw your inspiration from Willie Topaz, or is Willie just pretty much Terry?
There's a lot of me. There's a lot of me in there. My ego is not nearly as rampant as Willie's is. but as far as like the inspiration, when Jason and I spoke about the character, like from the very beginning, he's like Shaft inspired. And I was like, okay, I can play with that. I can definitely get on, but that's fun. So when I first read the script, I was like, oh, I'm so in. Yeah. I imagined this guy with his own theme song. I imagined like a little band playing behind him when he walks in. He's a former, and he's the type of dude that he's the Tom Cruise type that wants to do all of his own stunts. And that actually plays in this episode in particular.
Precisely.
And I'm pretty sure that's going to show itself down the line as well.
Oh yeah.
It's just so much to play with the character. But I was like, I think I'm gonna make him sound a little like this. But he's kind of me with a completely super exaggerated ego and a Hollywood history.
Oh, that's cool. No, because I get the impression when I listen to Willie Topaz talk, it's just so free going, and it just sounds so natural. It just sounds like you being you.
And I again posed that same thing to Jeff. Like, okay, do you want me like to do it, like play it, or do you want me to just kind of give it just like be loose and play it? And he was like, be loose, and I was like, all right, cool. You're gonna get Terry. That's Willie Topaz.
Well, Jason, he got this well as far as casting goes, because Leo Brawn, I always got the impression he was sort of a loner, pulled back, kind of quiet and reserved, and that's who I am anyway. That's me anyway. So when I go into my little Leo mode, it's not so hard to just be me with a weird, different voice.
Yeah, and Willie, I'm kind of the middle of the road when it comes to I can play the social scene, or I can be alone for days, and I'm good either way. So I can kind of slide into whatever's necessary. Like the ORA Willie is a little bit different than Road Willie and Bar Willie. Yeah. Bar Willie's an entirely different dude.
Oh yeah. Topaz surprise.
Oh,
spoiler. We'll have that.
I wanted to bring that up, but we'll wait on that. That's fine.
Okay.
Now,
yeah. Well, I was going to say with Terry. I mean, when we spoke too, there was an actor that we both mentioned. I don't know, and we both sort of had him in mind. I don't know if you remember, but there was a little bit of we spoke about Don Cheadle being some sort of influence in there too, which I think is both one of our favorite actors. So when I heard him say that, I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. And being sort of, I'm probably more like Stitch in the, maybe not introverted, but I'm okay with being on my own or whatever. But I get to express a lot of it through Willie and his exaggerated ego and the way that he would be, his bravura and everything it's fun to write.
Yeah, I remember it was the specific role in Boogie Nights with Don Cheadle that you brought up, and I was like, okay, Shaft meets Don Cheadle in Boogie Nights. What does that look and sound like?
That's where that cowboy hat came from.
yeah, I love the cowboy hat. That's just fun stuff.
Yeah.
Terry, have you ever worked on anything like this before? Because you've been in voiceover for a while now, right?
Actually, I've only been in voiceover for 3.5 years.
Okay.
But I've never worked in anything like this, but I have worked in audio drama before. I play a thug pixie in another audio adventure that's called The Dad Bod of Destiny. And that character is equally fun to play because it's like you would not imagine me playing this character.
Hold on, you said a thug?
It sounds like completely, he's like a mafioso Mickey Mouse. It's great.
So you said a thug pixie?
A thug pixie.
Wow.
His name's Filetto. And he's a fairy godmother's right-hand man.
Oh, wow. What are some things like down the line that you would like to see yourself do maybe in the Willie character on the show? Is there something you would like to, because I mentioned it to Stitch in our previous episode, like without getting too far ahead, but there's a lot that happens with these characters and a lot is asked of the actors a lot of the time where you have to go there. It's not just, nobody's one note. So, but is there something you would just like to see Willie experience, whether it's on Leo Brawn or maybe something else?
I think there's something else. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, as far as so I'm going to just try to stick with Leo Brawn for now. We'll maybe episode down the line, maybe I'll be back and we can talk about it.
Right.
But it's his character. I love to watch Leo's and Willie's relationship develop from that very first "who the hell are you" scene to where they are now, and especially after they have that very, very knife twisting moment later in the season. I love to watch how he's developing friendships with all of these people in hell.
Right. And that's what's I love that about the show. It's like you could take like almost anything, but then it's like, oh, but it's also in hell.
Yeah, I imagine Dante like Cuba. Where it's like it has technology, but at the same time it's like super far behind.
Right.
And it just has this look and feel of like, you know what I mean? Like the 60s America.
Yeah, exactly. No,
that's exactly what I envisioned it. And I was okay, that could be really, really, really cool. But the cars that they have.
They do have some pretty badass cars.
Great cars.
Yeah. That's fun doing the research on those. I love that stuff. Yeah. So much fun.
So as far as like the Willie character, I don't know what he did. That's his mom. I'm guessing vanity is probably his. It's probably his motive.
That's true. We haven't really covered his deadly sin yet. So
we have not. So that's a thing in my mind. I'm like, hey, we still haven't
really said what that is.
Yeah, I still don't know. I remember I asked you. I was like, I was like, why Sebastian? Why? Like, not with that Sebastian. Why does Maximilian? I was like, why Maximilian have it so rough? What did he do?
Still haven't answered that either, but we'll get there.
Haven't answered? Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, like I like to watch those relationships develop, especially between Willie and Leo. Great back and forth between them two. Even in the very first scene, there's a great little back and forth. Even though stakes are super high and there's no time, they still have just a little bit of good banter right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to episode 2. We're going to review the bird. Yeah, we're going to give you the bird for episode 2.
There you go.
Now, at the start of the episode, we joined the Dapper Man. He's observing Leo Brawn on a small black and white monitor. Here's a clip.
Playing out in black and white on the screen is Leo Brawn, sitting at a dining room table with Philip Weston.
How's our guy?
So far, he's an ace, nothing unusual. Well, except Mr. Weston's uninvited guest isn't chipped, so Brawny may have his work cut out for him.
Okay, let's see. Mr. Brawn, will you go by the book or follow your instincts? The illusion of free will. Gotta love it.
Now, I remember when I first heard that, I was like, who is this guy? And what the hell's going on? The control room, it's kind of mysterious.
Yeah. So that was another element. And now it's revealed that somebody's watching this play out, like they're not concerned. It's like they want to see how this plays out. Like Leo's in the room with a demon and this guy in a nice suit, who I just incidentally, I need to give a shout out to Dave Moxley. He had joined really when he joined. It's like once I knew I had Leo and I had the Dapper Man, I thought, okay. And we had Willie, and so things were rolling. And he did an excellent, such a good performance for that role, and so different than I had originally imagined it. And then when I heard it, I'm like, oh, that's great. And unfortunately, he had to leave the show, but I just wanted to give him a shout out because he did great work. And it's nice to see that he's doing well now. And just wanted to thank him for the time that he was with us.
Yeah, he does give this air of mystery. Even as he's talking, you're glued, going, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yeah, absolutely.
He makes you do that thing where you turn your head, even though you have headphones on, like it's gonna make you hear it a
right?
little bit more. Like, okay, it's very he plays it very subtly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was totally different than I had imagined it, and I love those kind of surprises when you're like, oh, this is a different angle that I hadn't thought of, and it was great.
So Leo, he's already received his message in the first episode. It said to kill Philip, but right. Leo goes ahead. He ignores the message. He wants to handle the situation without killing Philip. He doesn't seem to fear the demon. He's kind of defiant almost towards him. Check this out.
Leo looks in disgust as the spirit controlling Philip breaks every finger of his left hand, molding the fingers into a crude, mangled fist. The demon slams Philip's mutilated hand on the dining room table. The wooden table splinters in two, each half crashing to the dining room floor. The demon exhales again as more putrid vapor surrounds Leo.
I'm not impressed, Descendant, with these cheap tricks. You think ruining some furniture or breaking a few fingers is gonna have me quivering in fear? These things can be fixed, repaired, and replaced. Is this what we should expect from your bullshit reckoning? Is this really the best you can do?
Is this really the best you can do?
He's so angry. He's so mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost defiant. Like, screw the card and killing somebody, and screw this demon. I mean, he's establishing that badass character.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, we kind of touched on it in the first episode that I've always been drawn to those types of male characters and this type of genre where they're not anti-heroes, but they're definitely not afraid of getting dirty, and they definitely don't. And they have that sort of grizzled, rough exterior to them. So, which you played brilliantly in that scene. So, and there's reasons we'll learn why Leo is the way he is on the road.
All right.
I agree. The cadence that you used in that, when you said broken, replaced, like that one line, the way you played, I would never have done it that way. But I'm not you, and I can't pull it off, and you can. When you did it, I was just like, oh, F it. Those things are.
Well, to be honest, that's one of three ways. So everything I send to Jason has three different variations. I'm like, use the one you want to use, man.
No. When I send him mine, I'm like, this is the one.
Or he's gonna like this one. This is the one I'm going with.
Now, eventually the demon jumps from Philip and takes over Philip's son's body, Oliver. And this little kid's a jerk, man. He slaps his sister, scars his mother. He's running all over the house giggling. And then this happens.
Leo shakes off being dazed by the blow, and his focus turns to the briefcase. He quickly crawls to the briefcase, releases the clasps, and opens it. Hoping to find a dagger, revolver, or shotgun, he is instead met with a white envelope. He rips open the envelope as Oliver kneels over his sister Alex. Opening the envelope, he pours the contents into the palm of his hand. One silver ring.
What the fuck?
So he gets smacked down by Philip, sent flying across the room, and his briefcase goes off. Obviously, he's being watched, and he's sent this ring. But the briefcase and the silver ring, it seems to generate a change in things that... Well, here.
What did he just put on his finger? Can you zoom in?
Sure.
Just do it.
Sorry, the picture will get a little blurry. What is that?
It's a ring. Did we send the ring?
No, sir.
Well then, Piggy, find out who did.
And there's where everything starts, right at that moment, correct?
Yeah, that's really one of the first big mysteries is, so we know that somebody's watching this demonic possession and exorcism play out, and they seem to be on top of it until the presence of this ring, until this ring is sent. And then you realize, well, they're not the ones who sent it. And that starts sort of the beginning of, oh, there's more going on here. So now, got to find out who sent it.
Yeah, the introduction of a rogue player.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, okay, all right, cool. Like, I feel like I've been watching it for more episodes than there have been leading up to this point.
Right.
I don't know how you're able to condense all of the suspense into just 1.25 episodes at this point. But when the ring comes out, I'm like, you know what you're missing? Accessories.
And that's where the fun comes in. Like when I'm writing and doing the research, I'm like, well, how? So when a demon is picked, like they're going to be the foil for that episode, and then it's like, well, and it all comes from literature, not literature. I wrote stuff I just researched, and then as we'll find out once we find out who that demon is, but we know who the descendant is. Amaimon I think we say it in this episode. Another spoiler. I'm going to be bad about spoilers, I think. This is from literature that's how you defeat him. And so it was a silver ring. So I thought, okay, I didn't know that. I don't know if the listeners are going to know that, but if they do the research, they'll see that it's not something that was just made up out of thin air.
That's something you do a lot with your stories is you look, I mean, we talked before, when you were doing the scene in Florida, you actually went to like Google Maps and looked up roads to get to the Florida places and whatnot.
Right. Oh, yeah. For some reason, it was important to me to use real places or as much as I could without, getting in trouble or using a building or a company, whatever that they wouldn't want to be mentioned or associated with demons in hell, which I don't understand why. But yeah, otherwise, like if it's like residents or just streets or stuff like that, I don't know. It's fun. It was fun for me to find these like sort of hole in the wall places or remote places, and then maybe somebody out there listening will be like, hey, I know where that is. So yeah, that was the main reason for it. It just adds some realism to it.
All right, so needless to say, things get a bit weird for Leo and the demon, Oliver. And at one point, Leo does something that might make some child advocates a bit uncomfortable. Check it out.
And the possessed boy attempts to vomit in Leo's direction. Leo dodges the puke but can't escape its malodorous nature. Fleeing a direct hit of the spew, he lunges forward, landing a well-placed punch to Oliver's forehead. This blow sends Oliver flying, crashing into the dining room. Leo, wasting no time, tackles Oliver and attempts to overpower him.
Yeah, he jumps on an 8-year-old boy after punching him in the head.
Well, now we have to remember it's not the little boy right now. It's, a descendant of a Maimon, the demon, working through this little child. So, all bets are off at this point, right?
I thought maybe some childhood trauma was coming out about you beating up a neighborhood bully or something.
You did mention I have this thing about kids and Oliver and Ollie. And
we haven't even got to the pets yet.
No.
Special guest, Ollie. Come on in, Ollie.
If you're in therapy, you should take these recordings to your therapist and see what they say. But in all seriousness, this just goes to show that Leo doesn't give a shit. Also, he doesn't see the kid as a kid. He just sees the kid as an obstacle that he's got to take care of.
Right. And that he's probably hoping, he's looking at it as I hope the listeners have, that it's, he's really fighting the demon, not so much the physical vessel that's, acting out the demon's desires and wants and needs, whatever that goal is, whatever the end goal is that he's I'm really rethinking this. Can we do some rewrites? No, but that's why I think he's determined to get it done at all costs, I think. Yeah.
Did you blink at all when you wrote that?
I never even thought about it like that. I'm not even thinking about the actual people, then I'm thinking about the demon. So never really thought about it like that. No. I am now, though.
Well, at this point in the story, Leo's able to use the ring. He rids Oliver and Philip and the entire Weston family of the demon. However, that clock is still ticking, and Leo has to get back to the site where Stuart Bender died. And it's at this point of the story that we meet Willie Topaz, who comes riding through like the true hero that he is. Check it out.
In the distance, the sound of a car approaches. Leo races back inside the house and grabs his briefcase. Back on the front porch again, Leo observes as a car races towards the Weston residence and then screeches to a halt. A tall, husky black man exits the vehicle and rushes towards Leo.
Leo!
Wait, stop. Who are you?
I realize we haven't met yet, but let's save introductions for the car.
Hey, asshole. I'm not going anywhere with you until you tell me who you are.
Me? I'm the asshole who's gonna get you back to Stuart Bender's place of death before you end up trapped in limbo for eternity. I'd say you got about 18 minutes. Or we could stay here and get to know each other. Up to you.
Let's go.
Now in the car, Leo throws his briefcase in the back seat.
I'm Willie.
Nice to meet you. Leo.
Willie turns the key to the ignition, but the car does not immediately start.
Come on. Don't do this shit.
Why didn't you leave the car running?
Why did you take almost 3 hours to bag this bitch?
The car starts. Willie puts it in gear and tears out of the front yard. Willie drives down winding back roads, hoping to avoid traffic. He places a cooking timer on the dash.
Countdown, Leo. I hope the shit we make it.
How long until we arrive?
I don't know. I'm doing this by memory.
Wait.
Leo turns on the center dash panel and navigates through several options. He types an address in. He turns to Willie and looks proud.
GPS.
Okay, Leo. Here you go.
That was, in the beginning, he's like, who the hell are you? I'm not going anywhere with you. And then when they're in the car, it's almost like they've been buddies for years. The interaction
like a buddy
there.
cop immediately.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going right for it. But they're forced to work together as a team. I mean, Leo doesn't even really know who this guy is yet, but he seems to be there to help him. But the whole idea was, let's do buddy cop right now. Let's get to it. So there's that banter, and then of course I just love the way you played it, as it was a payoff from where he finally learns what GPS is in the first episode, and now he's like sort of like bragging about it.
Oh yeah, I love that very first thing when he's like, "Who the hell are you?" Like,
who the hell are you?
I literally did that when I'm at the mic. I was like, "Way to save your ass." I almost sent you that.
Here's the thing that gets me is you recorded yours in your studio, and it's not like we're talking to one another. I'm doing my interpretation, you're doing your interpretation, but when they come together, it sounds so much like we're just having a conversation.
It does. And I try to, like a lot of actors, it's the method of bullshit, my line, bullshit, my line.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to do that. You know what I mean? Like I try to find out where we are, how far away from you I am. If you notice that the volumes are different when I first pulled up and I'm not standing outside of the car, when I call you over as opposed to how we're talking while we're in the car. And I think that's a very important thing in this type of medium that we use, right? Like distance matters.
I do the same, but there was a couple episodes where I was supposed to be outside yelling to somebody. And instead of being on my microphone, I take like a few steps back and yell towards the microphone to get that sound for it. But
absolutely.
But when you're reading the script, it's hard to determine that, especially in a dialogue like we were having, just sitting in a car with one another. It's like, all right, are they angry with one another? But then you figure in the excitement of the race, trying to get there in time, the time running out, and it just all worked. It worked perfect.
It did. I just really wanted the urgency of the situation to come across while they're inside the car. I wanted the distance to be the most important thing for the very first few lines. But then once they get going and the banter needed to be rushed, like they needed to really feel like they were under the crunch.
Yeah, and even though Willie's under the crunch, he still has this sort of relaxed air about him. He's like, "All right, Leo, hey."
Yeah, see that's the Terry part. Like, I'm always the calmest person in the room for the most part. I try to always be the calmest person in the room.
Well, and you have to think about it. Willie's got plenty of time. It's Leo who doesn't.
Right.
True. Very true. It's like easy.
He wants to help Leo, but yeah. Plus, he's a vet. He's been doing this a long time. He knows he's got plenty of time to get back to hell. Leo does not, unfortunately.
Well, let's see if Leo makes it back here.
Let's see.
The friendly electronic voice indicates they will arrive at the Prairie Preserve Hammock Trail Park in 8 minutes. Willie looks at the timer.
Shit, we won't make it in 8 minutes. We have about 5 before you're a permanent member of the undead.
Well, gun it.
Willie puts the car into high gear, weaving through the back roads.
3 minutes.
I can see that, Willie.
Shit.
Willie takes a sharp turn. The car almost flips, but Willie corrects just in time. The car steadies.
Stunt car driving from my past life.
You were a stuntman?
No, man. I'm an actor. Willie Topaz?
Sorry, nothing.
1 minute.
The car bursts through some brush and almost careens with the entrance of the park. Willie slams on the brakes and the car slides to a stop. The timer on the dash of the car rings its pleasant, familiar chime.
Damn it. Go. I'll see you on the other side.
Man. There's a lot of excitement. Even though it's audio, it sort of builds a picture in your head, and you can actually see everything happening. Even the crash, I just imagine the front of a car going through these bushes and over this small fence or something.
That was it. Exactly. That was it, exactly. Yeah, and you guys played it so well. I love the line. I love the way you said, I'm an actor, Willie Topaz. I mean, it was just the way you said it. Like,
How do you not know who I am?
Yeah, exactly.
And in true Leo fashion, he's like, sorry, nothing.
Yeah, so nonplussed.
I have no idea.
You got a sandwich for me?
No, I mean, you both did great. The intensity level, sense of urgency, everything was so, I don't know. I couldn't, I've said it, I think, every day since, the cast members joined, and it's gotten a lot bigger now, but you guys were awesome. You killed it. And it was meant to be sort of like where episode 1 is sort of this foundational episode, and it's got this film noir quality, not a lot of action going on, but story building and stuff. And then this one, I just wanted it to be, once you hit that point when Willie shows up, it's like, all right, the clock is ticking. And literally in the car, that timer that Terry sets up is ticking. So, it's like there's just no time. I just want to see if we could pull it off, and it worked.
Yeah, it worked out great.
I think it worked out fantastic. Like, absolutely. The chemistry is definitely there.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to give anything away because, we still have other episodes to review, but I would love when scenes like this come up again. Those are fun to do, and I think it's fun to even listen to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They will. There will be more for sure. And I know we have some, I'm not going to spoil anything. There's some other heavy-duty, intense scenes coming up. But, yeah, I do want more of, like, that buddy cop atmosphere, and it'll be happening.
I've always wanted to do the buddy cop.
Right?
Always wanted to do the buddy cop. I got my man Stitch.
There you go. Lethal Weapon in hell.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Well, needless to say, Leo, he makes it home, and we get to see what it's like from his perspective, and leave the natural world behind and sort of show up in his world now as hell, like this.
Leo awakens. He's on a bus. He is one of only a handful of occupants during this late-night drive. The bus drives under an overpass, and soon in the distance, city lights emerge. As the bus nears the entrance to the city, he notices a homeless man holding a handmade sign. As the bus passes by the man, Leo catches a glimpse of what the sign says. It reads, "Welcome to hell."
That sort of wraps up well, because we have the demon possession going on, which brings the level up to about here. Then Willie and Leo get in the car, and that sort of amps up, and then the ride home kind of brings you right back down again. So it's a nice arc in that story itself, that one episode.
Yeah, and it was sort of closing up 1 and 2, right? And also it was a tone that I wanted to hopefully reach, where it wasn't just the scary stuff or the action stuff, but it was you could get the sense, there was some longing there, some sadness. So it was bringing up other emotions. And it's one of the very few, in a way, it's really the first time it's explicitly said he lives in hell. He's in hell. So that is a cliffhanger, but it's not the type, it's the only cliffhanger that's not like a dun, dun, dun in the show,
right.
So it was one of the few where it's a much more subtle thing. And then we just sort of drift out.
And I also love that. Well, two things. Number one, I don't know if did you mean to do this where it's like a ride when you go and get incarcerated? You're on a bus. It's just like, did you have that in mind when you did that?
Yeah, it was sort of like, because originally, this gets too into the weeds, but originally the bus was going to be the way everybody came into hell when they died. But so I didn't want to lose that, and then just the atmosphere of it, kind of the sound of the bus when he's like finally re-entered after finishing the mission. I just thought it just felt right to have sort of that atmosphere. So yeah, that's why I wanted to use it, because we've never really used it again, that they're on a bus or anything like that. So I just wanted that moment where you're just sort of alone on the bus at night in the dark, and you see the sign, and it's just sort of like, oh, In hell.
Yeah, the sign. It's not like you cross underneath a bridge. I imagine like you're crossing into Baltimore underneath a bridge, and it's just a homeless dude standing on it.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world.
Yeah.
Except not the end of the world. It's actually hell.
Yeah, you're in hell.
Hey, welcome. Yeah, exactly.
We even have the crazy sign holders in hell.
Sure. Homeless people with no economy.
There you go. How does that even work?
I'm taking notes.
Oh man, that is So there's like so many questions still, as especially at this point.
Oh yeah.
As into how hell works.
Oh yeah.
You don't really know. You have just a snapshot at this point.
Right. Yeah. All I know is I wanted it to be vastly different than how it's been described, and that's where later episodes will explain why it's changed.
And I love how you kept, but even though you're making a drastic departure from Dante's Inferno and books of the like, how you still kept the name of the capital city being Dante.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's like, have fun with it, have some puns, and and it's like, we'll work that in, somehow. Maybe someone likes puns. Maybe he knows that there's some, he knows it's kind of funny, kind of kitschy to name it that.
You picked the perfect person to play that role too, by the way. The person that has to do the puns.
Oh man, yeah. When it became time that we needed like the official appearance, I couldn't think of anyone else.
Well, you'll love to hear that.
Well, this has been awesome. Jason, do you have any final thoughts about this episode that you'd like to give?
From a personal standpoint, just thank you, Terry, for joining, because I had mentioned in our previous episode of The Devil's Den, I've never done this, and I'd never reached out on Facebook to anyone ever saying, "Hey, you want to do a podcast with me?" or anything like that. Never done anything like that. So then when you agreed to do it, it was such an exciting, every step along the way, like the cast members that we'll introduce soon that have been able to join. It's just, it validated this whole concept. That's something that I've just been kicking around for so many years. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I'm really enjoying these. Very excited to get these out there and actually be able to like talk about it in detail. So thank you, Stitch, for the idea and for agreeing to host. And I think no spoilers, but I know I will be very pleased, and I think the audience will be very pleased that the original narrator may not be around much longer.
And I love you, man. I love you. But that episode where that happens,
oh yeah,
is where everything like really starts to take off.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, once that happened, I'm like, okay. I mean, not only, well, I won't get into it because we'll definitely be talking about it soon. But yeah, that was just like another gift, and just sort of happenstance that it even panned out the way that it did. So can't wait.
Terry, how about you, as this being the first episode for you to take part in with Leo Brawn? What was your going away? What was the final thought you had for this episode?
Oh man, I just thought, like, this is so fun. This is so fun, man. And the writing is Jason's writing's excellent, man. It's just excellent. It's excellent, and it just picks up from here. So you don't know that out there yet, but trust me, it picks up from here. But like I said, the buddy cop relationship, the unanswered questions. I feel like a lot was jammed into this episode, but it didn't leave you feel wanting. It left you curious as opposed to feeling wanting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because each episode's pretty. As they as we move forward. They can get pretty dense. So I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, some later stuff is yeah.
Yeah, and earlier you said something about glad that we put this type of show together. This was actually a culmination of different ideas from different people who have commented to me about the show that we're doing, because they said they listened and they were like, well, what about this and what about that and what about that? And I was like, I don't know. So I figured, why not do something like this where you could actually give the answer and the main characters in the show can help give the answer, and then the people listening would understand and get those answers for themselves. So I think this is a good job. I think this is great. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is so fun, man. So fun.
Yeah. And I just, even though we have so many episodes that are done, and again, I'm trying to bite my lip and not spoil anything.
I know.
I am so happy to see where it's going, and it's just it's so much fun.
You know what I'm excited for? I'm excited for seeing and hearing the other actors that are coming up in the episodes next, and their interpretations of the characters and the scenes. And you know, I like to find out about other actors' methods. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, but this completely peek behind the curtain is amazing. I didn't know what I was going to even be saying. I didn't know what you were going to ask me. It was just like, this is completely spontaneous, right? So,
yeah. Well, it's like when you mentioned, you know, that, you know, some actors will be like, "Where's my line? Where's my line?" But I love that you brought that up, because being someone who, you know, is going to be the recipient of the dialogue and having to assemble it at some point, you can tell sometimes when it's because the context isn't there and the delivery anymore. And so that's just a really awesome tip. And not to build
the table reads come in play. As I was talking to Stitch before you came on, and I told him, I was like, you know what's fun? I was like, sometimes we have the multiple table reads, and you're not there. Is that I get to be Leo Brawn?
let me hear your Leo Brawn, Terry. Let me hear your Leo Brawn impersonation.
Willie. Hey, Cap, let's go get a Reuben sandwich. Yeah, you ain't know it's gonna be that good, did you?
It's not bad.
I'm gonna have to start showing up to all the table reads. I don't want to lose my job. God damn it. And that was another question I had before we go. I notice a lot of times in hell, people are saying, "Oh my God," or "Jesus Christ." I mean, should they be doing that in hell?
I thought about that. Yeah, I did think about that. It's like, oh, do they get, you know, like penalized in some way or whatever? But I was like, you know, how far do we take this? So I haven't really done anything with it, but who knows? I mean, it's a wide open landscape once we hit the next season. That's not a spoiler.
Okay.
Can we get a Satan, Jesus, H Christ? Can you just drop one?
Yeah. That's a really good idea.
That would be awesome.
That is going to happen. For sure. That would be hilarious.
Well, hey, this has been a great time going over the show episode with Jason and Terry. We truly appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule and spending this time reviewing episode 2 with us. Without giving up any secrets or spoilers, is there anything we can expect for Willie Topaz in the coming episodes?
In the coming episodes or in the future?
In the coming episodes of season 1. Anything you could say without spoiling anything? The only thing that I can say is that there is a very, very gut-wrenching, soul-snatching scene, and I can't really go too much deeper than that without maybe giving some spoilage. So I'll drop it there. That's perfect. That's just a way to nab them and reel them in. That's perfect.
That's how Willie does it, baby.
He is the professional actor here.
Yes, yeah.
As he will quickly tell you.
Okay, well, we're adding this to the show. To close out the show, we have a trivia question that we like to ask. And the question for this episode is, the demon voice is uncredited in episode 2. And there was one actor who, for the possessed Philip, not Oliver, for Philip, who supplied the voice for a possessed Philip Weston. Who was that? And we'll have the answer on our next episode. Jason, hey, thanks so much for bringing us this epic tale of Leo Brawn. And Terry, we want to thank you very, very much for being with us this evening. We're looking for more opportunities to have you back, and you will be back. I know that. Hey, folks, thank you for tuning into the Devil's Den with me, Jason, and our guest, Mr. Terry Briscoe. And don't forget to find us on Facebook for all the Leo Brawn updates, as well as patreon.com, where you can sign up to be an ORA member and get exclusive Leo Brawn content. All right, guys, thank you so much, and have a good night.
Brawniacs.
The characters and events depicted in this podcast are fictional. Any similarity to any actual persons, living or dead, or to actual events, firms, places, and institutions, or other entities is coincidental and unintentional. This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Its unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability and criminal prosecution. Country of first publication, the United States of America. Leo Brawn, copyright 2024, Shoestring TV. Leo Brawn and all related characters are trademark and copyright of Shoestring TV. All rights reserved.